The UN's conference on climate change is wrapping up in Bali, and although it's likely to end without a substantial agreement on carbon emissions, most world leaders now agree that our environment is indeed facing serious threats.
Global warming has become a key issue in politics and business, and with ever-rising oil prices, alternative energy has become a hot commodity on the world's stock markets.
So, how can investors tap into green trends? We're going to be joined now by Maguire. He's Chief Economist for Asia Pacific at Societe Generale. Glenn, first of all, if you are wanting to put your money into greener investments, is there the scope to do it yet?
At this stage, there is the scope to do it. A whole range of fund managers and investment companies will now offer products that are targeting the green space, and that can be either alternative sources of mining to traditional coal mining, to fire electricity power stations. It's similar to the trend we saw in ethical investing that emerged around a decade ago, which was very popular with the large amount of funds that organisations associated with charities had under management. And what we've seen evolve over the past year is areas that are broadly targeting the alternative energy production and distribution space, but also more general green themes such as solar power, wind power, recycling, services that are really ancillary but also related to the theme of green investing.
Is there anything in particular in this sector that actually stands out as more attractive to invest in, and are there any major risks?
I think the thing that makes it most attractive is we currently are moving into a period where oil prices are very high, and this is making it economically profitable for a lot of these alternative types of energy, such as biofuel production, to become more viable. More importantly, we're starting to see political and consumer responses to global warming. And one in terms of high oil prices would be governments are now allowing a greater blending of ethanol, so biofuel production has been supported. And I think that is one area that stands out as quite attractive at this stage, because we're also seeing a food inflation dynamic globally. I think as we start to see the westernization of Asian diets, you are going to see quite strong food inflation. So within the alternative energy space, biofuels look very strong as they've been driven by more than just the alternative energy dynamic.
But as a straight investment, would you be recommending them, or would people be recommending them over more traditional investments? Are they offering the same sort of returns? I mean, look at oil, for example, because obviously you're getting huge returns from oil companies at the moment.
Well, this is one of the key areas of uncertainty with them, and one of the risks is the level of absolute return, and oil companies definitely are receiving very high revenues, so are refiners. With a lot of the investment in alternative energy space, it's still not exactly sure how some of these linkages are going to work, and sometimes when we see a positive pickup in oil prices, we've actually found it's had a negative correlation with some alternative energy sources. So I think the other point also with the UN conference appearing to fail in Bali this morning, there's not the same structural political global backdrop coming through that you'll need to see these markets outperform as well. There haven't been the concrete steps taken to ratify Kyoto or the subsequent Kyoto, and until you see that, I think the performance is going to be mixed. But as in any sector, there's always going to be opportunities that will outperform, and we think biofuels is potentially one.
Right, and very, very quickly, how should an ordinary investor actually try and make money out of this? Should you pick a fund and park your money in it?
That's probably the simplest way. You can pick a fund. There now are a number of companies who are operating in the mainland who are trying to be more green, to introduce more production, efficient production techniques to mainland companies. You can do your research on those companies and invest directly, but the easiest way would be to pick a professional fund manager who's already been working in this space. And most of the major fund houses are now offering investment in this space.
And be prepared to take a longer term view on it, obviously. Glenn, as always, thanks very much for coming in.
Thank you.